Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll learn the use of default constraint in SQL Server. So the default constraint is used to set a default value for a column. The default value will be added to all new records if no other value is specified. Here is the syntax. So the create table and the table name, let's say the table name is user, and I have the column name ID. This is not null, and the last name, that is also not null. First name varchar 50, age, and the last one is the city, where I'm specifying the default constraint with the default value, let's say Redmond. Let's see how we can do it in SQL Server. Let's open SQL Server, select the database and click on new query. This new query window will open here. Let's try creating the table. Create table name, let's say users, and then we need to specify, let's say this is ID and that is int, not null, as we have in the example. And then first name, let's say it is varchar 50, and then let's say this is also not null at this time, and then last name, and just copy paste this varchar here, and then we have that city, and the last one we have age and then city. Let's say age. It is depending on you whether you want to create these columns or not, but the default value, how we can create it, I'm just showing that. City, and then just varchar what we have, and the default constraint with the value. That value is, what was that? Redmond. Let's say it is Redmond. Here this comma was required, and it's saying this is already existing. Let's go to the database first and then select the table and then see, yes, we have that. Just delete this table from database, and then let's execute it. So this is created successfully. Now let's try to insert the data. What is the mean of that? Here we mentioned that the default value will be added to all new records. Let's see that. Insert into table. We need to specify here columns and the values. Let's see, this is ID, and then first name, then last name, age, and then city. Let's enter here and put here the ID, let's say 1, and then let's say Raj, and then Kumar, age, let's say 40, and the city is this time New Delhi. So here I'm specifying, let's do first with the value here, and then we'll second time will not pass this value. Execute it. It's executed. Now just copy paste this query one more time and remove city from here, and we are not passing any value to this city column. Let's execute it. It is also inserted one record. Let's do select start from users table and then execute it. You can see that here in the newly created value, we are not passing in the second query, so default value is coming, but if we are passing, that is inserting into the table. So this is how we can create default constraint in SQL Server. Let's quickly jump on another query here. Let's do the default on order table. Let's see if we don't have the default column. So to create a default constraint on the city column when the table is already created. Let's say we have created the table, but we did not specify any default constraint over there. So how we can do it? Let's quickly see that. Go to this table and just drop this table from here. Let's refresh it and drop this table. Okay, now remove this Redmond as a default value. So now we are just creating a simple table without a default constraint. Okay, execute it. Now we are going to alter this table with the alter command to give the default constraint to city. So alter table name, then add. So here what we have, add constraint df underscore city. This is the default constraint name. It is depending on you, whatever you want to give here, but the standard is to use df, which stands for default, and then underscore the column name, and then we have the default keyword, and we are specifying this value for city. Let's do it here. Add constraint, and then df underscore, that's a city, and then default. We need to specify value. Let's say this time I'm not specifying Redmond here, and this time Noida, and then for city. Let's execute it. You can see that the command executed successfully. That means it is alter the table users and added this default city as a constraint to the table. Let's see what will happen if we are not inserting the value at this time. Here we already specify the name. Let's choose the name. Let's say Mohan Kapoor, and then just change the age as well, 30, and then try to insert this into the table. It's inserted, and then execute this table. You can see that Noida is a default value what we have set here. It is inserted. So this is how we can alter the table and add the constraint in existing table. So the last section of this tutorial is related to drop constraint. So to drop a default constraint, here is the syntax: alter table name. Let's say in this case we have users table, drop constraint, and the constraint name what we have given while creating the constraint. Let's see how we can drop in SQL. Open SQL. We already have this in the last command. Now we are going to drop it. Alter table, and then table name users, then drop constraints, and then the constraint name default underscore city. So it could be anything whatever you are giving while creating the default constraint. Let's execute it. It executed successfully. So let's see what all the reports we have here. Okay, we can see that we have Noida, Redmond, and the null value. Let's change this one. Let's say this time it is Mumbai. Okay, and then let's say the name is Amit Kumar, and then in the last query we are not passing the default what we have deleted. Let's see and make it Aniket Kumar. Okay, let's execute this one first and then the second one. So here we are not passing any value in the query. Let's select star from users and we can see that the Aniket one is having null value because we are not passing any value here and we already dropped that constraint, so there is no default constraint over it, and when we are passing it is behaving earlier. So this is how we can create, alter and drop the constraint. So that's it from this video. Thank you for watching.